Hello. I was just posing for Facebook, so they got like a good picture for a change. But we will see if that occurs. We are going live for Friday's episode, Friday's edition, Friday's Xander Gibb show. We're just sharing the live feeds, populating them, and there we go. No, I don't want to copy the image. I want to show the video URL, copy it, and go to it. Oh, yes. Siree, fiddle-dee-dee. Well, I came over all Sarah Palin then. I don't know why. It's Friday, folks. Thank Crunchy. I am just ecstatic that it's Friday because now I get 2 days where I don't have to broadcast. And it means I can have a glass of wine after the show, or 27. And I can also sleep tomorrow. Oh, sleep. What a commodity it is. Everything's so slow tonight. But we're getting there. Hello to everyone in the live feed. I will come and say hello to you when we've done with the setup. No, I don't want to copy the image. Hello, Chet, and hello to my Gina. I should say hello to my Chet, too, so he doesn't feel left out. Let's find the YouTube link. Never mind waiting till after the show. I could do with a glass of wine now, actually, or like a couple of whiskeys just to kind of get me in that zone. Are you in the Gibb zone? Have you been sanitized? You haven't? Well, get with the program. Do you remember when we used to call TV shows programs? I'm watching my programs. My grandmother used to say, "Get away, Zanny, I'm watching my stories." And I would think, what a terribly unfit grandmother to be doing this and not talking to me while she could be doing so. Here we go. We're getting the shares out of the way so we can go live for today's Xander Gibb show. I'm just sharing the YouTube link on Facebook because I know some of you like to watch. You see how much I take care of you guys. Everybody says, I can't find the YouTube link, so I put it underneath now just so you don't have to go hunting. I'm hunting, looking for some come up. This is freaking awesome. I really love that song. Right, what do we got to do now? We got to share to. Hi, Carla. Welcome to the live feed. We got to share. If my phone will open. We got to share on Facebook. Well, we populate because Zenny G is live. Oh, yes, I'm alive. And I will be sharing with you 5 nights a week. Till we win this goddamn election and put Donald Trump exactly where he needs to be. And where America needs him to be, really. In the powerhouse in Washington. Making America great again and stopping these liberals. Oh, sorry, not allowed to call them liberals. Stopping these excuses for Democrats, because I think even, what's his name, JFK would be very ashamed of these Democrats of today. The little stutter there for you. Max Headroom. The Democrats of today are certainly not the Democrats of yesteryear. But we can live in hope. Yes, we can. Mind you, we can't use that as a logo because that silly gay Barry used it, didn't he? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. I'm still waiting to see Barry's gay husband doing his show, the Big Mike show. which apparently is coming very soon. I think that Chet and I need to watch it live and kind of do a live commentary on it. We are nearly there with the sharing. We are doing good for time. Oh, yes, sirree. Don't forget about our drinking game, because every time I say the phrase, yes, sirree, that we talk about Goat Lives Matter, because for some reason that happens quite a lot. You can take a sip of whatever is your tipple. There you go. We're done. We're ready to fly. We are ready to fly. So, without further ado, we're going to go into opening titles in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Has been good to me this time around. Things were bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact, and I can find no ribs. This is love, yeah, love. Never known true love before. Seen so many counterfeits that left me on the floor. This is love, yeah, love. All will come to those who wait. Time it cannot know the bounds, and eras don't dictate.
Hello, and welcome to today's fabulous episode of the Xander Gibb Show, the talk show that really does get you talking on the Xandemonium Network, live from an undisclosed location. Yes, it's your mother's basement. Come bring me some milk and cookies down. Bringing you the best in Patriot broadcasting 5 nights a week. I'm Xander Gibb, and on tonight's edition, I get on my soapbox and give you the chance to get on yours too. And I'll be analyzing the real news and give you the chance to call in and our phone in. Singer Sean Smith drops by to share his new release. In part 2, we break down today's hottest topics with my good buddy Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck. You can have your say in the live feed below, and as usual, I'll be sharing your comments as we go, so keep them clean-ish. You can follow me on social media everywhere but Twitter, because the guy that owns it, Jack, is a asshole, basically. And you can also check me out at xandergibb.com. That's xandergibb.com. Everything you need to know is there. Let's come to the live feed. I have joy already. My joy is like, let's come to the live feed and say hello to everybody therein. Let's go backwards. Hello to my Gina. Welcome to the show. Hello to Chet, who is our guest in part 2. Hello to Carla. Hello to, who else is there? We started a little early today. Well, hello to everyone that's watching, but isn't in the live feed. Make sure you click that share button. You are most welcome. And now it's time for Xander's News of the Day. I really need a little, what's it called? A little jingle for that. So 2 statues of Christopher Columbus that stood in Chicago's parks were taken down early today at the direction of Mayor Bug-Eye herself, Lori Lightfoot, a week after protesters tried to topple one of the monuments of the Italian explorer classed with the police. Now, crews will use the... Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Crews used a large crane to remove the statue from its pedestal. A small crowd cheered and passing cars honked as the statue came down about 3 a.m. Now, the second statue was removed about 5:30 a.m. from Arrigo Park in Chicago's Little Italy neighborhood. In a statement issued after the statues were taken down, the Democratic mayor's office said they were being temporarily removed until further notice. It said the removals were in response to demonstrations that became unsafe for both protesters and police, as well as efforts by individuals to independently pull the Grant Park statue down in an extremely dangerous manner. An extremely dangerous manager. That was kind of ironic because she is an extremely dangerous manager. Way to go, pandering, Mrs. Bug-Eye. Get your shit together and stop the violence because you've got bigger fish to fry than statues and protesters. Yes, you have. So the teenage driver who showed no remorse from causing the death of PC Andrew Harper in the UK has been cleared of the brave officer's murder. Henry Long, 19, along with thieving accomplices Albert Bowers and Jesse Cole, both 18, were determined to escape at all costs after stealing a quad bike in Berkshire, England, and had threatened to ram police. Newlywed PC Andrew Harper, 28, came entangled in a tow rope attached to their Seat Toledo as he tried to catch them and was dragged to his death. Long was acquitted of the murder at the Old Bailey today, but the trio still face 3 years in jail for manslaughter. Let's hope they throw the book at these evil little bastards. There, I said it. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry, actually, because they need to set a precedent. If people are killing police officers to evade arrest, young people, 18, 19 years old, what does that say about the lack of deterrent to commit crime? Oof. Makes me angry. So deep state, Dr. Anthony Fauci revealed the chilling personal consequence of his prominence at the nation's top infectious disease expert during the coronavirus pandemic. Fauci said that he's received serious threats to himself, his wife, and his daughters, requiring them to have extra security because of his public role as director in the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases and advisor to President Donald Trump on the White House Coronavirus Task Force. Let's face it, Tony, you can afford it with all of the cash you're getting from China and the World Health Organization. I've seen a side of society that I guess is understandable, but it's a little bit disturbing, Fauci said recently to David Axelrod on the latest episode of the Axe Files podcast. I mean, really, is this the United States of America, he asked. No, Tony, not when you're selling your soul to the deep state. I have zero sympathy for you, and whilst I don't want you to get, you or your family to get hurt, there's no wonder that people are pissed off with you. Chet says, Lightfoot looks like Dave Chappelle when he plays the crackhead in the Chappelle show. Yeah, he does, doesn't he? She does. She's got those like big panda eyes going on. Carol McGiffin from UK TV's Loose Woman hates being branded a cougar, a term used to describe older women seeking relationships with younger men, as she finds it insulting and rude. The 6-year-old has been married to her husband, Mark Cassidy, who is 22 years her junior for 2 years. Lucky cow. Speaking about her dislike for the word on the show today, McGiffin said, "It's really quite insulting, actually. It's insulting and it's rude. Cougar represents something that's really predatory, like running down the street, chasing after young men. I don't do that." Okay, Carol, we will let you off with that. 22 years younger, but not a cougar. And finally, Ellen DeGeneres and Portia de Rossi were burgled earlier this month. Broken into, if you will. Police have said, according to local officials, the married couple's home in Montecito, Santa Barbara County, California, was targeted due to its status as a home to a number of celebrities. Keat, a network in Santa Barbara, said high-value jewelry, watches, and a dildo collection were taken from the house, which was burgled on the 4th of July. Law enforcement officials are reportedly working to see if there's a link with similar break-ins to celebrity homes in the area. In October 2018, the homes of several celebrities were broken into, including Rihanna, Nicki Minaj, Alanis Morissette, and David Spade were said to have been robbed. Their sex toy collections were also taken too. Detectives said to be investigating the crime with forensic technicians. I love it. That is really funny. And that is Xander's news of the day. If you want to come and share your news of the day, or comment on what's going on either in the United States or in the UK, you can email me at xandergibb@xandergibb.com, and you can go to xandergibb.com /contact. What the hell happened there? The auto queue has a life of its own. So we have time for a couple of calls. Hello, CV. Welcome to the live feed. We have time for a couple of calls. If you're in the USA, you can call us on 845-363-4747. If you're calling from the UK, you can call us on 0208-133-5274. That's 0208-133-5274 if you're in the UK. And if you are in the United States of America, you can call us on 845-363-4747. Chet says, Fauci sat in the seats with no mask. Aren't they hypocritical, these people? It really kind of bothers me to a very deep level. It's really kind of like do as I say, not as I do. And I think the thing that bothers me the most about it is they know that we know that it's bullshit. You know, they've taken this situation and overreacted so much that people are scared. And they're scared to a point of, you know, kind of falling into line with whatever's suggested. And that rather bothers me, to say the least. CV says the summer election madness continues. Absolutely, it does. It's been so hot here today. It's like 68 degrees now and really humid. And I can't put the fan on in the studio because the stupid microphone picks it up. Chet says, right next to a few Marxists that had in attendance no social distancing. Why doesn't that surprise me? I mean, you know, they have to start calling him Deep State Fauci for sure. Gina says, on the 5 today on Fox News, said A&E was tanking in ratings because they took off live PD. Will they have to put it back on? Yeah, I saw that. And they took off Cops as well, didn't they? I don't know what channel it's on. But it's alarming that they're taking all of these TV shows away. And then they go, what happened? You know, the ratings have tanked. Well, I'll tell you what happened. You folded to a group of, you know, Marxist assholes who want to kind of control everything we say, do, and watch. So, you know, ultimately, you get what you deserve. You get what is coming to you. Carlos says, I bet they won't. I don't know. I think that, you know, market forces do ensue. And if people are not watching your channel because you've taken things off for ridiculous reasons, you really do have no one to blame but yourself. What was the other thing I wanted to tell you about? Yeah, so for those of you in the live feed talking about Ellen DeGeneres being burgled, I don't wish that on anybody, but I just thought I think it's quite funny that all of these people that are attacking the president or have attacked the president for the last 4+ years are kind of, you know, it's almost like divine retribution, really. You know, we have people like John Legend's wife, you know, Chrissy Teigen. Sorry, my pronunciation of Hawaiian names is not that good. You have Chrissy Teigen on the one hand, you know, on the Lolita Express flight list and getting really pissed because people are talking about it on social media and threatening to leave Twitter. Who cares? You know, go. You know, it's not like anybody will be that bothered about you leaving. Gina says, I hope they do because people are not watching that channel and they will go down. Let them go down, I say. Carlos says, why didn't Ellen just open the door like they expected us to? Great point, Carla. I don't know. I think, and let's face it, she'll be thinking that it's. I don't know who she thinks it is, but clearly, the woman infuriates me. I can't see her as entertainment. I can't watch her on the television anymore, and not just because of her kind of ongoing nasty critique towards the president, but it's just this. There's just this level of bullshit, you know, and it's constant. You know, we all have levels of bullshit, but I think on the left, the BS-ometer with some of them is just so high that it's off the scale. I'm sorry, I've got messages coming in from people who are saying that they are getting kicked out of the live feed. I'm really sorry about that. Please persevere. Hopefully it will settle down. The thing is that Mark Zuckerberg is so ugly and is a clone of Data off Star Trek, and he has a mail order bride. So that is the reason why he gets pissed when people talk about it, and consequently kicks people out of my feed. Oh yes, Siri. Sorry, I'm getting quite a few messages from people that are telling me that this is happening to them even. Where are we? Let's come back to the live feed. I'm gonna bring my guest on very soon. He is a British singer. I'll be telling you a bit more about him. He's been on the show. He's been on the show a couple of times. Chet said, yep, they kicked me out several times on Wednesday. I think what they do is they hope that people are going to say, oh, screw it, I'm not going to come back. And they think that, by massaging the numbers, because I broadcast through Restream and OBS, and Restream sends me a report of how many people have watched and listened on every platform. And each time I get a report about Facebook, only at least a third of the number of people that have watched the show on Facebook gets recorded on Facebook. So this is more kind of browbeating of conservatives and shadow banning, although they say it doesn't go on. And then Mark Zuckerberg wonders why they get this level of people wanting to cut their advertising budget with them. Where are we? Chet says, F. Allen, no thanks. Please don't give me nightmares, and don't have nightmares out there, folks. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my first guest. He is a singer, Sean Smith. He's been a performer since the age of 7 and has been starring in roles in tours of Dancing Queen, Spirit of Broadway, Elvis, the King of Rock and Roll, to name but a few. That's entertainment, and we will rock you. Sean was one half of Same Difference, who entered the 4th season of the UK reality TV show The X Factor, and were mentored by music mogul Simon Cowell. Now, they reached the final eventually, finishing 3rd out of 250,000 applicants in 2008. Same Difference embarked on the X Factor Arena tour, played packed arenas around the UK, and received critical reviews. Sean's debut album has just been released through Energized Records. I caught up with him earlier to check out his new song, Summertime. But before we hear from Sean himself, let's take a listen to the track.
We listen to the tide as it's rolling, rolling. I can't allow myself to be falling, falling. I've been holding you so closely, but I know that we just gotta let go.
say a word, feel the silence, silence. I've been holding you so closely, but I know that we just gotta let go. The tattoo on your side, imprinted on my mind. I know I never will forget this summertime. The tattoo on your side,
show, singer Sean Smith. How is the world with you, and how have you been dealing with lockdown?
Well, things have been great, mate. So, thanks for having me back, first and foremost. But I've got to say, it's obviously been really, really difficult. I think it's been difficult for loads of people. I think at first, I had this feeling of like, you know, we're in this together and we're going to fight this virus. And I think bit by bit, that certain things have kind of got a bit more difficult to sort of take on board and comprehend. And you know, I found myself then getting a little angry, and then I've kind of come back to kind of going, do you know what? Let's make the most of this. Let's do whatever I can to make the best of this sort of bad situation. And I feel like I'm pretty proud of myself for the way that I've sort of accepted it into my life and kind of got on with things.
Absolutely. And as a singer, like one of the ways that you respond to that is to kind of give the public what they want. And in that vein, we just listen to your new song, Summertime, which is from your new album. Tell us a little bit about the song and the album, because to me, you know, I get everything that you do because, you know, I'm good friends with Stefan. So I feel like an evolution is taking place. Am I right? Expand on that for us.
For sure. I think I've changed so much. I mean, I think as we get older, we change as people anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, any artist goes on a journey, and you've got to continually sort of like change yourself for how you're feeling at the time. And I think Summertime in particular, it's very sort of mature in its sound. It's still kind of like touching on subjects that maybe, you know, like it's about a summer romance, you know, that's hot and you can't get out of your mind. So it's kind of like young. It's in the way that it's, you know, in the way that it's put forward. But, you know, I think everyone's been there and everyone can understand it. But I do find that a lot of my music now, I'm maturing, and think that all the people that are fans of mine are maturing with me and can completely get that.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, I saw some clips. I don't know if they were actually from the kind of like for Summertime, but a lot of kissing girls in the videos that I saw. I mean, it looks like hard work, you know, that you're having to do there.
Yeah, it's so difficult, you know, to have to do all this kind of stuff. But, you know, that girl that was in the Do or Die video, she's actually my girlfriend, so that's why we could make it look sort of real, you know.
Yeah, I hope she got a fee for that. I really do. So let me ask you about because, you know, a lot of singers are just singers. Some singers are singer-songwriters. Where does it kind of sit for you? Do you write your own stuff? Do you get ideas and then you work with someone else? How does that work?
Well, the big thing that's missing for me is I can play guitar, but I wouldn't call myself a musician per se. So
right.
I can kind of like strum a few chords and get the ideas down, but that's about as far as it goes for me. You know, same with kind of like dropping in loops. But I can kind of make something happen, but I'm certainly not a producer. So I can get a song to sort of a stage where you've got a good idea of it, but I can never kind of take it further.
Right.
So for me, it's like I love collaborating. That's my favourite thing there was a song on the album called Never Gonna Change, and me and a friend of mine we were rock you together, we just used to have a few beers and just jam and got something down. And then obviously, because I'm with such a great label that are willing to let you roll with stuff, Energize just said, look, you know, we really like this song, let's see where we can take it and get you in with other producers. And that's how it works for me. It's kind of the most organic way for things to work. But truly, a lot of this stuff comes from demos as well. You know, we get a great demo and we think, God, we've got to take this song right away and roll with it.
Right.
And that's how some of the best work has happened as well.
Absolutely. And I like, you know, you talked about kind of like an organic process, because for me as a singer, and a songwriter, I get the ideas and then I'll go into the studio. And when you work with great producers, they kind of take what, you know, the ingredients for your song cake, if you like, and they go, oh, let's add a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And why not put a snare drum in there? And then you end up with something, you know, far better, whilst kind of maintaining your creative vision. Because for me, I'm sure it's the same for you, I want to kind of maintain some level of control. Because when you go in the studio with a producer that's a little bit controlling you, like at the end of the song, you're like, what the hell is that? That's not what I wanted at all.
You know exactly what you said there. I think a lot of producers get used to certain loops that they've developed their sound.
Yeah.
But when you're with them, you can kind of, it seems pedantic, it almost seems pedantic, like you want something your way, but actually what it's doing is it's creating sort of something that flows throughout the album that all can kind of like understand is who you are as an artist. And I think that's really important because, you know, if you work with a lot of different, you know, I love all these different flavors that you get from different producers.
Right.
But then, you know, you need that continuity running through that it is your sound. So, you know, that's why sometimes I can seem quite pedantic with producers. But I've got to say, all of them understand that artists need to have their stamp on stuff. And so 9 times out of 10, they're going to come through. Oh, my God, I've been working with some incredible producers that just completely get me. And it all seems so easy and they understand where I'm coming from and likewise with them.
Yeah, because I think the industry continues to change. I mean, I haven't made an album for 15 years. I'm actually just working on an album too. So I do sympathize with you because it is a real hard process, isn't it? Because people just hear the end product and they don't see, like, you know, the blood, sweat, tears, pain that goes into kind of putting it all together.
You are so right, Xander. That is hit the nail on the head because it's the thing, like, already Energized is saying, you know, talking about a potential second album. And I'm like, oh my word, you know, it's not easy. If I tell them that yes, that's a commitment, and I know that I'm going to be put through the ringer for quite some time. So it's not something that I would want to sort of like dive into straight away. It's a dream of mine. I feel like I always set out to make the album that I've made, and I'm so proud that I've done it.
Right.
And now it's because that's the other thing, keeping the creative vision alive and knowing where your next step is, and people getting that. Coming on that journey with you, you know, it's tough to keep all those things in line, and not only that, I mean, you'll know exactly what I mean. When it comes to release day, you feel nothing but pressure, really, don't you?
Yeah. Because
you know,
the first thing the fans say is, "Oh, when are we going to get some more songs from you?" You're like, "I just killed myself to give you, you know, all of these great songs, and now you're saying, you know, when are the next one? Can I have a little bit of life in between? You know, can I have some time to kind of get some more life experiences to be able to have a level of response to them?"
When people want it, you feel like you want to deliver, and then maybe you rush something out that, you know, it isn't quite right. And as I said, this has been 4.5 years in the making. You know, to kind of jump back in and kind of deliver something for someone in a year, it was never going to be at the same quality because it hasn't had the blood, sweat and tears, but as you just said.
Absolutely. So I want to ask you, I get a lot of different artists on the show, and I always am interested in influence. Now, I'm an 80s child myself, so I'm kind of influenced by, you know, the 80s scene, but I also love the 60s and even stuff like love songs from the 60s. I have quite an eclectic vision. What about you? What's your influence? What did you grow up listening to? And what's on your, of course, apart from Xander Gibb, what's on your iPod right now?
Love that. Things have changed over the years, and when I love a song, I will play it to death. Right. I think that comes from being a young kid and going in and saving up your pocket money, and then you made the most of it because I've never had a lot of money, so whenever I went to get a record, it was always one that I knew that I wanted, and then I'd play it to death. So I've not really changed as I've got older. If I find a song that I love, it goes on my playlist, and it will just get played and played.
Right.
I've kind of gone through different eras, to be honest with you. Yeah, because I was born in '85, so all the '80s stuff is really close to my heart.
Right.
Obviously when you're a kid, your mum and dad won't let you have certain records, so you're always kind of like encumbered by, so my very first ever record that I received was a Jason Donovan record.
Really?
And so it's no wonder, the way that the way that Same Difference turned out, all was so kind of cheesy and liking that kind of stuff.
Right.
But I loved Bon Jovi, Meatloaf. They were the sort of early albums that I played to death. My dad was he loved kind of a Scottish band called Deacon Blue, and he loved like Thunder. So he was kind of really into that the cooler thing in the 80s, if you know what I mean. And
right.
He loved, and I got a lot of influences from him too. But the huge one for me when I was young was always Michael Jackson. And I know it's sort of like it's a name that's disappearing nowadays. But oh my God, his music is something to behold. And I always, every single album that came out, I would save up and make sure I was there on the day.
For sure.
It's weird because I wrote Never Gonna Change with my friend, and it's funny because a few people and the producer that I work with said, there's a little bit of MJ influence in here, and I thought, it doesn't surprise me because I know that I listened to it so much growing up.
I don't think we're ever surprised by that because, like, my first and only album is kind of very electro, and someone in America actually said to me, "Were you a fan of Culture Club growing up?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I was. Why?" And they said, "Oh, well, we can tell from your album." And I'm like, so I'm not sure. I mean, I love Culture Club. I don't know if I take that as a compliment because I'm always conscious of not wanting my stuff to sound like anyone else's. But we're always going to have that influence, aren't we, really?
Of course. It's something that's natural. And I think that every artist will have that. With some artists it's not as obvious. But I like to think that because of the way that my album was made, partly with my inputs with the music and lyrics, and partly with sort of demos that are coming at me, and then I'm taking it and rolling with it because I feel like it's one that would work for me. There's no obvious influence there, and
right.
I kind of like that because then, like you said, you don't want to sound like you're trying to be anybody else.
No.
So and that's one of the things that I think will kill an album. It's like, when someone goes, well, this is the way that things are now, and then you go, oh, right, so we need someone that's going to go. It's like with the Same Difference thing, really. People loved High School Musical at the time, and obviously we were happy to sort of piggyback that, but you're never going to take it on in a big way because that's always there.
No.
So and I think that was something that went against us because, it was us trying to be that and not we were the original.
Absolutely.
I find when you're in line with who you really are, that's when people get it the most.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. I heard this phrase about 20 years ago, and I heard someone talking about being their true, authentic self. And I thought, how do you go about doing that musically? Because, what we tend to do is, we take our influences, we throw them in a pot, we work with the producer, and we kind of, because often producers say, how do you want it to sound? And I'm like, well, I want it to sound like Xander Gibb. I don't want it to sound like, anybody else. But I find that when I sing live and when I sing in the studio, it's totally different. Do you find that too? Do you find your recorded version of a song and your performance version of a song are kind of like have a difference?
Oh, 100%. I think the delivery, people get so used to now hearing it with like vibrato, and it's all very loose and. Because it's just so easy on the ear and it just rolls like that. And so when I'm in the studio, it's amazing as well because I feel like I can do so much more in the studio than what I can live with my voice. Because you can take another take, so you can throw it out and move on. But there's definitely the relaxedness is what makes a song feel comfortable to listen to. You know?
Absolutely.
And whereas on stage, it's completely the opposite. You want to bring so much energy that people feel everything with you. So you're absolutely right. It's completely different, and that's why I find when you hear artists sort of lip sync their songs, it's never the same for me. It sucks, and it really annoys me, because when we did, when Sarah and I went back onto the X Factor in 2008, so the year we released our album, and then they got us back on the year after, and they were trying to tell us that we needed to lip sync to it, and all the reasons why it was right, and all the artists that do it, and people want to hear it like the record, and all this kind of stuff. And so many people straight away, all the clips were like, I can't believe they lip synced, it's proven they can't sing, and all this kind of stuff. And it lost us a lot of that respect that we'd maybe gained from performing live every week,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you're absolutely right, buddy. There's a completely different way of singing. But I often find I give too much energy on stage and I end up losing my voice, and that's not good either. And so it's finding that equilibrium to get it right. It takes time to sort of develop that and know where it sits.
Absolutely. I've never got the ideology where the music industry kind of wants you to lip sync, because if you are a singer and you were, if you're like a real singer, to actually rely on that studio quality performance, as far as I'm concerned, is folly, because when I sing live, it's kind of like the experience is purer, really. So I don't want to rely on that studio quality, because it's the raw element that people are coming there for, isn't it, really?
100%. The thing is, like, I get it, say, for example, you hit one or two bum notes. And the other thing is that people don't realise is live, because people are in the energy with you, it's maybe the slightest off notes, even if they're only slight, they don't really get heard, because people look at half people are singing along, it's kind of like so loud that you're not really hearing the track itself. Whereas on TV, it's completely different. Even the slightest bum note can sound so far off. And I think that when these big labels sort of piled so much money into these records, and then all of a sudden they're saying, right, we're going to put you out live in front of millions of people, and then you sing one or two songs, one or two notes off tune, it goes, the vibe of that can stay with the song for a long time. Absolutely.
It's a difficult parallel, isn't it? It's a difficult kind of challenge, I think. We got to leave it there, but I could talk to you for so much longer. I hope you'll come and join us again soon. But tell people where they can tell people the name of the album and where they can buy it from.
Oh, thanks, Andy. Yeah, no, the album's available now. It's on if you go to SeanSmithSolo.com, Sean spelled SEAN, then you'll on there. You can link up to me on social media, and all of the links are on there to download the record, and it's across all of the obvious places that you would usually get it. Right. So then definitely say hi, and it would be great to talk to you and touch base.
Absolutely. Make sure you go and check out Sean's new single, Summertime, and his album. All of his contact information is on the Xander Gibb show page for this week on Facebook. Make sure you go and check him out. For now, thank you so much, Sean Smith. Xander, it's back to you in the studio. That was the fabulous Sean Smith sharing with us his new single, Summertime, from his album Solo. Go and check him out. All of his contact information is on the Xander Gibb show page today, for this week even, on Facebook. So my next guest is Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck, our regular Friday night correspondent. He's going to be calling us any minute now from the United States of Creamerica. Does anybody know what TV show that comes from? Creamerica? Here we go. Let's ask Chet, see if he knows. So please join me in welcoming back to the show the one, the only, the fabulous Chet Martin. Welcome back to the show, sir. How is the world with you?
Everything's fine. You know, when we were messaging each other and you said it was hot, 74, I'm like, man, give me 74 any day.
Please.
We've had 90 degrees over the past maybe 2 weeks where it feels like it's like 103 with the humidity out here on Long Island. I would love to be in the 70s.
Well, the 70s here is kind of equivalent to the 90s because when you imagine it's like freezing cold all year round.
That's true.
So the days that it's really hot, it's like, you know, my hair goes like this big frizz ball and, you know, I look like, you know, one of the Flintstones. But, you know, that's kind of how it is. So did you get my Kramerica reference? You know what show that comes from?
No, what was that from?
From Seinfeld, because Kramer used to call his company Kramerica Industries. So people, I always say from the United States of Kramerica, and people are like, Kramerica? What the hell is that?
You know, that, Xander, that's my favorite show. I'm surprised I didn't pick that up, but I love Seinfeld. The worst thing about Seinfeld was their ending, though, the final episode.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. I'm hoping one day they're going to do it again. I heard they might.
Yeah.
So I think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I do too. They're talking about doing one more series of Frasier, which I really loved. But yeah, definitely Seinfeld would be good again. But a few of the
Frasier, Cheers, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I love all of it. And the best thing about Jerry is he was just recently quoted saying that these little Antifa members need to go back to school and stop complaining about everything.
Wow.
So, you know, kudos to Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always liked Jerry Seinfeld. I remember when I was shopping a sitcom in New York and the one of the people that I was shopping it to said, "You can't name a sitcom after yourself. It's not going to be successful." And I'm like, "Tell it to Jerry Seinfeld, you know." See what
a show about nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm a lover of Seinfeld. So I want to jump right in to our first topic. Mitt Romney is one of Donald Trump's biggest Republican critics, and he's only the only GOP senator who voted to convict the president for alleged abuse of power this year. And he regularly calls the president out on policy and personal conduct, bitter mittens, tut. Yet the Utah lawmaker who was who was his party's presidential standard bearer in 2012, surprisingly believes President Trump is likely to win this re-election in November. Romney offered 3 reasons. There are enormous advantages to being the incumbent, number 1. Number 2, I think Trump will tack more towards the middle in his communication than he has so far. And number 3, I think the voters that are most animated in the opposition to the president tend not to come out to vote, and that's young people and minorities. They're active in the polls, but not necessarily active getting out to the polls, the senator said. Mittens lost to gay Kenyan Barack Obama in 2012, election due to unexpectedly high turnout from young people and minorities. He later blamed his defeat on what he called gifts the Obama administration gave to key voter blocks, including African Americans, Hispanic, young women, etc., etc., etc. Whilst I agree with his conclusion, I kind of don't agree with all of his reasoning. What say you, Chet?
Well, if Mitt wants to make right with the Republican Party, I suggest he supports Donald Trump.
Right.
And, you know, stop attacking the man. Second of all, when he talks about turnout, Mitt Romney should have won in 2012. It's because he threw in the towel for that second debate. Xander, do you remember when Obama and him debated? That first debate, Romney actually kicked the crap out of him.
Yeah.
And we were all like, oh, you know, I remember saying, I said, Mitt Romney's going to win this thing. By the second debate, he was basically zipper lip. He wouldn't say a damn thing, and you could tell that they got to him. He was supposed to fold when he did fold. But as far as predicting a Trump win, that's great. Get behind the president. They all need to do it because what we're seeing happening in the streets right now cannot stand. It is absolutely an embarrassment, but I don't know what he feels with that, Xander, because he went, and I don't know if you saw this, he marched with Black Lives Matter.
Right, exactly.
Just a few weeks ago.
Exactly. You see, I don't I don't get this. And this is where the term rhino comes in, because true conservatives would not do that kind of shit, would they? Let's face it.
No, and the bottom line is Donald Trump has done more for conservatives than any president in my memory. I mean, he's done some really big things as far as the Supreme Court. And I will tell you, the Supreme Court is the biggest one, because we're going to have some pretty young people in there that are conservative, and they're going to be making decisions for a very, very, very long time.
Yes.
Especially when Ruth Bader Ginsburg finally, I don't want to say anything too bad. She's not doing well. So they'll replace Ruth, and we're going to have that locked up. So many good things he's done with the economy.
Yes.
The fight against terror. That should be stuff that Romney would say, you know what, I don't agree with the president on everything, but he's done a good job. He's moving our country forward, and I'm going to support him.
Absolutely. And I have to say, regardless of politics, we do send our very best to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, because I think that's her real name, Badger Ginsburg.
Okay. Okay. I wasn't sure if it was really her. They were just rolling out lifeless mannequin. I'm not sure anymore.
She's now an animatronic American, because you can't call her a robot, because that's not politically correct. But you know what this highlights for me? not the Ruth Bader Ginsburg thing, but it highlights for me how the Republican Party has kind of gone full circle. And some people don't want... You see, I think that any party should be twofold. It should be steadfast, but it should also be ever-changing and growing to kind of encourage new membership. And I, like the Republican Party of 20 years ago, I probably couldn't have become a member of. And I only ever became a member of the Republican Party of today because of Donald John Trump. Because otherwise, I would have stayed a libertarian. But I felt it was important... in order to further my support for him to actually, become a paid up member of the Republican Party. But the interesting thing for me is that there are some Republicans who are so stuck in the past that they would rather have a Democrat president than have Donald Trump for a second term. And I can't equate that, because how can you call yourself a Republican if that's the case?
Because they're all bushy globalists that liked the trajectory of this country before Donald Trump became the president of the United States. The thing they hate the most, Xander, and the thing that the Democrats hate the most, is that the American people took that party back. We said we're putting in Donald John Trump as the president of the United States because he had a clear conservative message. He was backing our military. He was backing our law enforcement. He's the only one that does nowadays. He was backing all the great first responders and the people that really keep us free as a nation, that give us that liberty. The Republican Party wasn't representing that anymore.
No.
We had two hacks put up to go against Barack Hussein Obama, who never did a damn thing in his life as a senator except gin up divisive hatred with the leftists in Chicago and elsewhere. And people read the tea leaves. They said McCain couldn't do it. Romney couldn't do it. We better not pick a Jeb Bush this time.
Yeah.
We better go with Donald Trump.
Right, exactly. But, the thing is that you have to give, Barack Obama the credit for the fact that he was a community organizer. And that is akin to running a country if you're from Chicago. Not.
For him, it is. And like I've said many times, Barack Obama did not fail in his eyes. And he did not fail in the left's eyes. Actually, Barack Obama, there's probably a lot more he wanted to do, Xander, but he just couldn't do it, except if he was using his phone and his pen, his old infamous saying from 2012, I'll just use the phone and the pen to push through with my legislation.
Yeah,
and that's why that's happening still today.
Isn't it funny how, Barack Obama, I don't know the exact figure, but of all the executive orders that Barack Obama did, Donald Trump hasn't even done, an iota of that many.
No.
But every time he does one, they're saying, oh, you can't rule by executive order. So why was it okay for gay Kenyon Barry to do it? Is it because he's black? I have to ask myself. And that's not a racist comment. I'm serious when I say that. How is it wrong for the bad orange man to do it once or twice. But Barack Obama's whole presidency was based on executive orders.
Yeah, you're halfway right with that, Xander, when you say, was it because he's black? It was because he's black and he's a leftist. If
Right.
he was black and he was a conservative, they'd be all over him.
Yeah.
So there's a slight bit of truth to what you said, but the
Right.
bottom line is they agreed with the movement that Barack Obama was creating and getting us one step closer to the goals of Agenda 21 and have us policed by the United Nations and have all these horrible deals
Yeah.
where America comes in last. And Donald Trump came in and he said, nope, we're not doing this Paris
Yeah.
Accord. Unfortunately, with Obamacare, McStain ruined that for us, but,
Yes.
we're still pushing forward. He kicked ISIS's ass. He got our economy moving, the minority community, great with jobs, all that good stuff. And now what they have to do is create this virus, not create the virus, but create
A response to the virus.
feeling in the country that we need to be afraid and that we have to fear going out of our house because of the mobs. And Donald Trump had this country chugging along.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show you that they don't care about that.
No, of course. Just imagine how if you hate Donald Trump more than you love America, that says something to me. God forbid, if and this is a kind of scenario, so bear with me. If Hillary Clinton had got in and done a freaking brilliant job and made America a better country, we would have at least had a level of respect for that. Okay, maybe not Hillary, but a Democratic candidate. Because really, I don't think, I think Hillary would burn toast, really.
Absolutely.
But I think if a Democrat candidate came in, it's not actually, I want a Republican at the helm. But if a Democrat had come in and done a good job, then that would have made a difference. But we haven't seen that over the last 30 years with the Democrats. It's always been divisive and dishonest and anti-American, because what we need in America right now, we need more of the same. And I think that, I say this a lot, all of the interviews I do, I have to come back to this. I think that the second term of office for Donald John Trump will give him a license to actually seek justice and retribution for the United States, because that's what we need to see. We need to see Hillary and Barack in jail for what they did. Because if the law says you cannot do this and you do it, you should not be able to get away with it just because you're a politician.
Yeah, I agree with you. Unfortunately, we're not going to see that. And William Barr did confirm that, just so, realize he said that they're not going to be putting Barack Obama, placing him under arrest. And that's just the way it's going to be, unfortunately. The sad part about what you said is that it really is true. You do have one party that absolutely hates America,
right,
hates the citizens for putting our man into the White House with our agenda and our America first, because they're not America first. They're trying to put somebody in, Xander, that'll put China first.
Absolutely.
Somebody that's going to bring in the squad. That's not America first.
No. And talking of not putting America first, that's a great segue into our next and final topic. Because last night, every member of the New York Yankees and the Washington Nationals took a knee before the Star-Spangled Banner. They also saluted Black Lives Matter, a known Marxist organization. I'm astounded that Americans would bow down to Marxism and haters. I mean, haven't we forgotten 9/11 so quickly? The Yankees and the Nationals brought great shame upon themselves and their families and their organizations. Maybe it's past time for America to get a new favorite pastime. Now, I know that you're kind of a lot more kind of sporty than myself and into sports and things like that. So I didn't kind of, I actually saw this on your page, but even as someone that's not into sports, as a patriotic American, I'm freaking furious.
Absolutely. I've been a Yankee fan since I was 7. My dad took me to my first Yankee game in 1987. And when I saw Ricky Henderson hit a home run, and I was in love from that day on with baseball, and last night I turned it off. I'm not watching them. I'm not going to support them. I'm not wearing any of their jerseys. Not that I ever did. I'm not a jersey kind of guy.
Right.
But I wouldn't buy my kids any jerseys anymore, anything like that anymore, because what they did was they spit on every single police officer in the Bronx and the surrounding areas and the ones that protect them
Right.
inside of, well, I believe they were in Washington, but still, they're going to come home to New York. They're going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And we have the best police officers in the world
Yeah.
in New York who have been treated like absolute crap.
Exactly.
And the fact of the matter is, this didn't just happen with the Yankees and the Nationals over at Fenway Park, Xander, right by the Turnpike. In Red Sox lettering, they put Black Lives Matter.
Wow.
And this is really going to turn people off. And from what I was seeing today on social media, also in the Red Sox homepage, the fans are not happy. I would say 80% of the comments that I saw on their page were negative. It's not going to work.
You see, the thing that, the thing that bothers me, as someone from the Bronx, as even though I'm not a fan of sports, when people say, "Oh, what's your team?" because you always have like an affiliation. I'm Yankees through and through, and when I hear that this has happened with the Yankees, it actually hurts my heart. Now, are they doing this to be popular or because they kind of they actually believe it? I think it's the former. I don't think that they can actually truly support this because for me it's about separating the two. Because I get this, I get comments from people all the time saying, "Oh, Xander Gibb, clearly you're racist and you don't believe that Black Lives Matter if you don't support the Black Lives Matter movement," which is bullshit because I think all life is sacred. And I say this all the time: all life is sacred. However, when a movement chooses to politicize what has been a few incidents, and quite rightly, no one should end up dead at the hands of anybody, but when they politicize it and then call you racist for not agreeing, it's kind of like, it reminds me of Obamacare, really. It's Obamacare Mark II, except you don't get any health care from it,
Right, and you don't see what's the ingredients of the sausage, so to speak. Like Nancy said, you won't see it until we pass it.
Yeah.
Or, give me a break.
Yeah.
The thing is, the New York Yankees organization to me always kind of represented America. When you watch the Yankees, everybody knows that they won all those World Series. Even their logo, Xander, is Uncle Sam's top hat with the bat going inside of it, and it says Yankees, and Yankees was the name for the people that pushed back against the Confederates.
Yes.
And that's what that name represents to me. And when I see all their players going out there with Black Lives Matter shirts on, I'm going to change it. And Black Lives Matter, if it was a movement, maybe I would support it. If they weren't attacking cops up and down, if they weren't getting support from the Clinton Foundation, George Soros, and all the other sick leftists out there, they are not a movement. They are a political wing of the Democrat Party, and they have been since their inception.
Right.
So if people want to tell me that Black Lives Matter, I agree Black Lives do matter,
Yes.
and that's why you shouldn't be picking Donald Trump and trying to get him out of office, because he's done more for the black community than Barack Obama ever did. And I don't care who likes it. Somebody was like, "Don't tell me what he's done for the black community." Don't tell me. I know what he's done because the numbers don't lie.
No. And can I just say this again, because I can't say this enough. Lowest black unemployment, not for 5 years, not for 10 years, ever. Lowest black unemployment ever. And we need to shout that from the rooftops, because how can he be anti-gay? You see, I get this all the time as well. How can you support an anti-gay president, which is just as hilarious? How can he be racist if he's put that much effort into justice reform, the First Step Act, and ensuring that black people have jobs? It astounds me. But it's part of that rhetoric because they have nothing else, not a thing.
The media can never show you the reality of the situation. When they talk about the inner cities, they don't mention all the gun violence. You have to go to a conservative show, or you have to read in a conservative publication or media outlet about what's going on in Chicago, New York, and all over the country. The sad part about it, all of this, Xander, is a lot community are turning, and
They are.
don't like that. That is what they fear. They
Right.
will not show you. I think I told you about this. There was this woman from MSNBC. She was talking on the streets of Baltimore with a lot of the different residents. She went up to one black gentleman and she said, "Who are you supporting, Sanders or Biden?" And he said, "I'm not supporting either of them. I'm supporting our president, Donald Trump." And as he kept going in, he's asking her, why would you assume that I want to vote for Sanders or Biden? And she was tripping over herself, Sanders, because what he was basically telling her was that was an extremely racist thing.
It absolutely
that you
was.
just said to me.
It absolutely was. I get asked all the time, what I remember when Hillary was running, obviously because you're openly gay, you'll be voting for Hillary. Why the hell would I vote for Hillary? She's in bed with those that are throwing gay people off buildings still just for being gay. So do you know what it is? It's back to that kind of identity politics again. And those expectations are actually part of that identity politics. And I'm not signing up for it. Because for me, if I thought that President Trump was either anti-disabled, anti-gay, or racist, I couldn't support him in any way, shape, or form. And I will continue till my dying breath defending that because I believe that to be true. And I think that we all need to do that a little bit more, especially in the run-up to the election.
Xander, you touched on something really important. A lot of the gays for Trump really are for Trump, and they've been behind him since day one because they know what Hillary would do.
Yeah.
And they know what would happen if the Democrats start flooding us with third worlders from Syria, third worlders from Iraq, all over the place. They don't believe that a gay human life has rights and should exist. And if you say it to them, here's the part that ticks me off. When you say that to them, they just go, "Oh no, that's not true. You're just being a racist." And I always tell them, the Quran, whether it's read by that Muslim, that Muslim, that Muslim, this Muslim, is all read the same. There is no other version of the Quran. It has never been revised. Nothing of the sort.
Not at all.
When push comes to shove, and I'm not saying all Muslims are bad.
No pun intended, buddy.
Push came to shove, they would align with each other.
Yeah, you can't say push come to shove when we're talking about pushing gay people off of roofs, can you?
Sorry.
I'm joking. I can see the funny side of everything. We do have to leave it there, though. Tell us who you've got on the show this weekend and where people can watch.
Yeah, we have Tom DeWeese coming on. He's from the John Birch Society. He's got a lot of good stuff going on with this red pill movement and people that can go to these events that are in, Connecticut, New York, and around. Right now they're shut down, of course, but, they were doing a lot of big stuff. Actually, Kendra Becker was there not long ago. And then we have Paul Sutliff. He's from Civilization Jihad. He's a renowned author, Islamic. He's studying the extremism in Islamic cultures. Right. But as he will tell you when he comes on the show, none of it's extreme. It's just the culture of Islam. And everybody go to freedomondeck.com at 3:00 p.m. Eastern Time and click Listen Live, and you'll be able to hear the show right there. And Xander, I appreciate the time, my friend. Thanks for giving it.
Always a pleasure to talk to you, my friend. Don't forget to check out Freedom on Deck this Sunday, 3 to 5 Eastern Time, with Chet, Brian, and CV. Make sure you're there and listening intently. Thanks a lot, my friend. Have a great time and enjoy your pool this weekend.
Thanks, man.
Thanks a lot, brother.
Keep up the good fight.
Thanks a lot. Take care. That was CV Burton. That was Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck. Make sure you check them out this weekend. Thanks to everyone who's made today's show possible. Thanks to singer Sean Smith. Make sure you go check out his new song. Not had your fill of the Gibbster. You can check me out 5 nights a week, 5 Pacific, 7 Central, 8 Eastern. 1 a.m. in the UK and 10 a.m. the next day down there in Australia. Join us next week for a more scintillating chat. Thanks for watching and listening. Stay safe out there. I have been Xander Gibb. because who else would I be? I love you all. Bye-bye.
It has been good to me this time around. Things were the bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact and I can find no rest. This is love, yeah, love. Never known true love before. Seen so many counterfeits that left me on the floor. This is love, yeah, love. All will come to those who wait. Time it cannot know the bounds, and eras don't dictate.
Click the bell button and subscribe to keep up with the Xander